Donald Trump, as I am sure you already know, has announced his third run for president of the United States. And here we go again, ladies and gentlemen, but it's probably going to be even more wild than the previous two times. Each word he speaks spirals him further into Bonkersville, as you guys are aware. So here's the part where he officially makes that announcement at the Mar-a-Lago event that took place last night. And we have lots to discuss around this as well.
And it's a word you don't use. Two words. I don't want to be Joe. It's two words. American dream. That was not good what he did. There are a lot of bad things, like
what he did.
Going to Idaho and saying, welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
So I will say that is the best example of the odd disconnect between Trump on prompter and off prompter. But he did it at the worst time, where he's doing his little baby voice. Not very good what he did. Biden thought he was in Idaho, and that's why I'm announcing my candidacy for president of the United States. And he'll do that in other moments, and it's kind of odd jerking back and forth between teleprompter version of him and off the cuff, excuse me. But that was the worst time to do it, when he's formally making the announcement. It's supposed to be the most grand moment of those speeches. But then I don't really care about much of the speech to show to you guys. It's kind of his normal rally type rambles. And I will say one of the big takeaways is it was just very boring. I think whatever you felt about Trump 2015, 2016 campaign, he did have a dynamic on stage ability and did kind of make the audience entertained. Again, even if you were very much against him, this was nothing like that. This was boring. We live streamed last night. About to show you a moment from the live stream when we covered this live. And I was yawning throughout it because it's just all stuff we've heard before. He sang in it, sang all of it in a monotone voice, and very boring, even though still very dangerous. So here, as I said, is a moment from the live stream. The only moments I'll show you were the particularly funny ones. Where he seems to have a hard time understanding what Reconstruction is, and you'll see my live response within this.
Border better than anybody else. So they were amazed that we started that trend, and now we're continuing with that trend. You look at what we've done in Florida, what everybody's doing now in Florida and Texas, along the border in Texas, won every single community. I won every single community. Governor of Texas called. Great gentleman, just got reelected. And he said to me, I'd like to talk to you for a second. Well, he said, you've done something that nobody else has done. You've won every single area along the border, the longest since Reconstruction. I said, Reconstruction, I guess you call that the Civil War? That's what I call it? That's what I call it. Governor Abbott, very good man, and he's working hard, but it's horrible because what's happening is they're just sending hundreds of thousands of people right through his state, right through Arizona, right through all of the states. What's happening is they...
Did he just admit that he doesn't know what Reconstruction is?
Will be about issues, vision, and success, and we will...
So you can see in a moment... It almost took me a second to realize how dumb that was, because you wouldn't assume in a presidential announcement someone would just that blatantly misunderstand such a crucial part of American history, where apparently I guess Greg Abbott or someone in this story he's telling that's almost 100% not true. I mean, maybe it is, doesn't really matter. They say, you know, this hasn't been done since Reconstruction. And he goes, you know, Reconstruction, I call that the Civil War. Well, okay, yeah, it was right after the Civil War, true, but it's not synonymous. And he repeats it. I call that the Civil War. That's what I call it. A little embarrassing. And anytime he went off teleprompter in this speech, it was a little embarrassing, for sure. And so, like I said, I'm not super interested in a bunch of different moments of him saying all of his normal things, because who needs that? If you want to watch it, you can for yourself. But the second kind of funny moment from this is he got mixed up in his wording and seemed to praise Obama on accident.
The American people, the greatest people on earth, we love them all. And we love both sides. We're going to bring people together. We're going to unify people. And it was happening in the previous administration, previous to the previous, and what was bringing them together was success.
So he's saying that previous to the previous administration, the country was being brought together through success. So I guess he, in his mind, is thinking Biden is the current previous, and then he would be the previous to the previous, but I don't think he understands the thing that's happening currently can't be the previous. That's what's happening now. Biden is currently the president, so you would be the previous president. So Obama would be the previous to the previous. And Bush would be the previous to the previous to the previous, and we can go on as far as we want to go. But so then he's saying, I guess, that Obama brought together the country with success. Interesting to be throwing in your speech, Donald. Last little tidbit of this speech, it seems to be the case that even people in the audience weren't too interested in what he was saying. This correspondent breaks down how people were wanting to leave during it, but were being stopped at one point by security and not being allowed to leave.
Low energy. I actually saw people trying to leave, and people leaving early even before he was done. He's still speaking now, and then they, I think, perhaps a little concerned that the hall would empty out too much. They actually started preventing people from leaving, so now they're no longer allowing people to leave.
Help is on the way. Joe Biden has abolished America's borders. We are going to restore and secure America's borders just like we had them before, best ever. We built the wall, and now we will add to it. Now we built the wall.
So a very awkward moment there, where people are trying to get out, getting a little sleepy, but aren't being allowed to do so. Not the most important thing ever, but just a random note. So there it is. Donald Trump is running for president again in 2024. We will see, number one, if someone challenges him within the Republican Party, Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, whoever it might be. Number two, who on the Democratic side, if he is to prevail within the GOP primary, will run against him. And will that be Biden? Or will that be someone a little fresher? We'll have to see. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.